Okay, Emilie Cady wrote an important book that's used as a major text in the New Thought movement. It's called Lessons in Truth. She was an early New Thought teacher, and in chapter 7 of her book, she talks about something called chemicalization. And I go to a Unity church where this word chemicalization is brought up and used, and most people don't know exactly what she's talking about. So let me read you this passage in her book. One term often used and not always clearly understood is chemicalization. Did you ever put soda into sour milk, cider, or other acid fluid and witness the agitation or excited action that takes place? One of the substances neutralizes the other and something better results from the action. This is a good illustration of what takes place sometimes in the minds and bodies of people. Suppose a man has lived in wrong thought and molded his body by wrong thought for years until, as you might say, he has become solidified in that wrong belief. You introduce the truth to him by strong denials and affirmations, as has been taught. The very newness of it, and because it is the truth, creates in the first few days new hope, new joy, and health. But after a short time, a sort of mental ferment or agitation takes place. One is apt to feel very nervous and seared way down to the depths of himself. If he has ever been sick, he will begin to feel the old diseases. If he has been morally bad, the old desires and habits will take possession of him with new force. If he has been holding denials and affirmations about business affairs until they have looked hopeful, all of a sudden they collapse and seem darker and more hopeless than ever. All the new beliefs that lifted him into a new world for a few days seem failures, and he seems on the very verge of breaking up generally. What has happened? It is simply this. There has been a clash between the old condition, which was based on falsehood, fear, and wrong ways of thinking, and the new thought or truth entering into you. The old mortal is kicking vigorously against the truth. You have a feeling of discouragement or of fear, a feeling such as one would have if caught in something disreputable. But do not be frightened. That which you feel on the spiritual plane is similar excitement and agitation to that which was seen in the chemical action between the alkali and acid on the material plane, and something higher and better always results. This agitation does not always take place with everyone, but it is most apt to occur with those who have been most fixed and, as it were, solidified in old beliefs. Such people break up with more resistance. Those who are not very settled in their convictions are more malleable mentally and physically and are not so apt to chemicalize. Vigorous use of denials are also more apt to produce chemicalization than is the use of affirmations. There is always less resistance by the mind when it is gently led into the truth than when its errors are directly and vigorously combated. Should you find yourself in this state of internal aggravation, you need only affirm, there is nothing to fear, absolutely nothing to fear. Perfect love reigns and all is good. Peace, be still, and so on. And then very soon the brighter conditions will appear and you will find yourself on a much higher plane than you have ever been before. So do not be afraid of this word or the condition, chemicalization, as many have been, for truly there is nothing to fear in it. So what I'd like to do as a former chemistry teacher is show you the exact chemical reaction that she is talking about, because I think it really clarifies this passage when you see it in action. So she says, did you ever put soda into sour milk, cider, or other acid fluid and witness the agitation or excited action that takes place? One of the substances neutralizes the other and something better results from the action. So let me show you exactly what that is. So I've put about 1/4 cup of vinegar, which is the acid, into this glass. And now I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. This is the reaction she's talking about. She's saying when you put truth into falsehoods, there's an agitation that happens initially. So let me just swish this around a little bit. It'll settle down after a while. And things are good. But as it turns out, there's still old beliefs in here, and we can still add more truth in the form of baking soda, and it stirs it all up again. And actually, I'm looking at it, and it looks like the second time around, the bubbles went even higher than they did the first time around. So I'm waiting for the bubbling to stop. This is like a demonstration of what she's talking about. Okay, I added some more baking soda. And this time it didn't go up quite as high. And actually the bubbles are a little bit smaller than they were the other time. So we put in 3/4 teaspoons so far. A little bit more. Oh, it didn't go up anywhere near as high that time. That's interesting. That means that the new beliefs are beginning to really get close in volume to the old beliefs. So I'll put in a little bit more. Hardly stirred up at all anymore, so the new beliefs are beginning to really take over. And at this point, I can just barely hear a little bit of bubbling. I think we're pretty much at the neutral point where this fluid is going to clear out. There's a little bit of excess new beliefs in there, and so the excess new beliefs will settle to the bottom, and that's fine. But what's really interesting is that this is no longer vinegar in here. As I've been adding the baking soda, it's changing into a different substance. So this is just exactly what she's illustrating. This is like you, and you started off with your old beliefs, and as we added in the new beliefs, then it neutralized all the old beliefs. It converted them to something else, and you've got, at this point, I can see a little bit of the white powder in the bottom, so I've got more new beliefs in there than old beliefs, which means that that's how your life should start unfolding. Your life should start unfolding from those new beliefs instead of being dominated by the old beliefs. So I just wanted to make this concrete for you because I think when she uses that term and you don't know exactly what it's talking about, you only get a vague notion of what she's saying in that part of the chapter 7. But if you see this in action and know exactly what she's talking about, I think it's a very good demonstration of why she chose to use that word chemicalization. And I hope this helps you in your future study of New Thought. So thank you, and be well.